I've noticed that I, after more than a month of making videos on here every week, still haven't introduced myself yet. It's high time I do that, don't you think? So, I'm Ruven, some bloke in his early 20s. As you can probably tell by my somewhat strong dialect, I'm German. I'm a bit of an overthinker, a guitarist in search of a band, generally still trying to figure my life out. My favorite movie is Inglourious Basterds, my favorite album is Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd, my favorite novel is A Book Thief. I'm really into history, I prefer chocolate over most other sweets, stupid pop music over boring pop music. Oh, and I'm disabled. Specifically, I suffer from Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism. Since I'm not well versed in biology and stuff, what I'm planning to talk about are the societal implications, not how exactly autism works. From what I'm able to understand and explain, think of our sensory organs as microphones and our brains as the interfaces they are hooked up to. Now think of my nerves being faulty or just different cables. That's why people who don't suffer from autism are called neurotypical, with neuron being the ancient Greek word for nerve. Since I was diagnosed very early, before I started school, I had a lot of time to learn how to adjust to living in a world made for neurotypical people. One of the ways I do that is hiding my disability altogether, basically being an autistic actor portraying someone neurotypical. Until quite recently, I didn't see a problem with doing this. Last year though, I got more involved with social justice on the internet, where I learned that movements for social justice often have enemies within the marginalized groups that they are fighting for. Examples of this are mostly anti-feminist women, but also members of minorities speaking out against the movements for them. Within the world of social justice, such people are often accused of self-hate. That got me thinking. If I'm a member of a marginalized group, often hide the fact that I am, and don't get along with other autists terribly well, am I actually such a self-hating minority member? It's not even a rhetorical question. This is the stuff I'm actually thinking about a whole lot. The main reason this is even an issue for me is that I pass as neurotypical. The concept of passing, when talking about minorities, refers to the ability of someone in a minority to hide the fact that they are a member of that minority. The problem with that is while it helps those specific people with some of their problems, it's actually harmful to everyone else in their minority, because it pushes the progress of normalization back. Not only can coming out free yourself, it can be a big help to the rest of your minority. This is one of the reasons I started being more open about my disability than I was as a teenager. The other reason I do it is purely egotistical. Sometimes, since many people want to help out disabled people to make the world a fairer place, being disabled can actually be a privilege. I used to only play the disabled card when it suited me, and otherwise kept my disability as well hidden as I could. Hopping from one privilege to another, the one of being disabled and the one of being able to pass as what is seen as a default human, now seems kinda wrong to me. That is why I started coming out to people. I still try to act as neurotypical as possible, but that's not for any other reason than not liking the way autists act. If I'd be talking about any other minority, I'd probably diagnose you with the aforementioned self-hate if you disguise yourself as a default human. The question is if I'm such a self-hater myself, or if being disabled is somehow different from being part of any other marginalized group. As I see it, the problems of all other marginalized groups could be solved by the breakdown or reconfiguration of existing social constructs. On the other hand, even if we destroyed all the structures that hold other marginalized groups back, disabled people would still be disabled. I'm not saying that we shouldn't absolutely do that, because we really should. I'm just pretty sure it wouldn't help myself personally much. For people with mental issues and other disabilities, though, only normalization helps. Normalization helps every marginalized group, and I hope I did a small part to that with this video. If you wanna know more about autism and my stances on social justice issues, feel free to ask your questions in comments under this video or on Facebook and Twitter. As always, there'll be something new by me next Tuesday, so subscribe if you don't wanna miss that.